So I got a message on Instagram asking to see if I could speak about the different types of lines, like Belgian lines, KMPV, Belgian lines, French lines, and explain the difference in those different different types of Malinois. And overall, yes, there is a difference. If you work with enough Malinois from different bloodlines, you will actually start to recognize some patterns, some behavioral patterns, some tendencies, some even biting styles. They can be a little bit different too. So in general, okay, as a general broad way of putting it, Belgian line Malinois, they tend to be a little bit on the. They tend to be a little bit more on the level-headed side. They tend to be on the, on the nice, calm, but still very powerful side. When you look at KMPV lines, or not KMPV lines necessarily, but Dutch lines, because KMPV is just it's just an event. Really, any dog from any line could actually go into KMPV. It just happens to take place in Holland, and so a lot of Dutch line dogs, a lot of Dutch dogs end up competing or going through KMPV. But anyway, in general, Dutch line Malinois tend to be a little bit more full of piss and vinegar. They tend to be a little bit more hectic, not necessarily on the grip, although that can happen. But less of an off switch typically on the Dutch line Malinois. However, I do want to point out something that is really good for anybody to know, and that is whether you agree with me or not. At least I can tell you I've seen those subtleties in the different types of Malinois, the different lines. But at the end of the day, the big thing is you have to realize that even though, yes, those tendencies will be there, they will influence the dog and the behavior and the tendency and the demeanor. You have to realize that every dog is its own individual set of personalities. And this is now going to temperament. Every individual has a temperament that is unique to that individual. Even within a litter, you will see different temperaments in that same litter. You'll see very confident dogs in that litter. You'll see very timid dogs sometimes in that same litter. You'll see dogs that are very possessive. You'll see dogs that are not that possessive. You'll see dogs that are more independent. You'll see dogs that are more handler aware, handler oriented, and more handler sensitive, all within that litter. So what does that tell you? That tells you that regardless of the lines, regardless of even the genetics, you have to look at the temperament of each individual. That is really the key. So yes, we want to kind of go towards the type of dogs that best suits us or our clients or the people that we work with, but ultimately temperament will have the last say in the matter. Okay, it would do me no good to have a dog with certain bloodlines that I prefer, but if that individual doesn't turn out to be the way I want it to be, then none of the other stuff matters. Like the stuff that I gave you were generalizations. Like the Dutch line Malinois thing was a generalization. The Belgian line Malinois thing was another generalization. Typically it tends to be that way, but generalizations don't always apply to every individual. That is unique to each specimen. So I told you that Belgian line Malinois tend to be more of an off switch, right? Tend to be more calm, more level-headed. But that's not to say that you're not gonna find a Belgian line Malinois, even within the same litter of the type of specimen that I just described, that will not be like that. That will be more hectic, that will be less of an off switch, that will be completely different than the types of traits that I just described. Bottom line is, yes, lines are important, but genetics are important. Genealogy, pedigree is very important, but temperament is also key to determining whether that animal, that individual, is for you. That's what it boils down to.